What's good? It's Evan James. We're gonna get cooking in the kitchen. Let's go.
This is Chase B. We in the kitchen. We're about to cook up, do a little interview, maybe on a freestyle. Not by me. You're gonna have to talk to somebody else over here because I ain't rapping, bro. Just somebody else. You know.
This is MilkyWaay. Welcome to the kitchen. All right, Evan James, Chase Briley. Welcome to the kitchen.
Pleasure to be here.
So, introduce yourselves. Tell us about music.
What's good? I'm Evan James. I think I would classify my music in a couple different ways. It's kind of genre blending. I pull from a lot of inspiration that came from my childhood. A lot of pop music, R&B, maybe classic rock, but basically pull from anything I was singing back when I was a kid. I'm from Manchester. I've been making music for probably in my 7th year now. But I started everything at the same time, playing piano, engineering, producing, and singing. I was singing as a kid, but I never took it serious until about 7 years ago. So, and now we're here.
I'm Chase B. I'm a producer and engineer. I'm originally from New Orleans, so I was kind of born into a music culture. So I've just been around it my whole life. School band, shit like that. But I started taking it seriously after high school when I got my first laptop and it came with GarageBand. So I would just sit there and try to flip loops and cut shit. But I'd say seriously, I've been producing for 10 years. I've been an engineer for 5, 6. So yeah, a lot of my style comes from like that down south, that soul, funk, R&B, jazz, while blending what I like to listen to, which is, trap and alternative R&B. So yeah, same what Evan said, just fusion of all the shit I like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds dope. It's good to draw from all the different influences. I feel like that's how you really get good stuff.
Well, all music's collaborative too. Even if you sit there and create the shit at your computer with no samples, anything, the inspiration is drawn from somewhere.
Yeah, you can't make music without ever having heard it. All right, so tell me a little bit about your creative process when you're making music. What do you do to get inspired, and also how do you overcome beat block or writer's block?
Ooh, it's tough to overcome beat block and writer's block because the thing you have to do is just work through it. You just have to keep creating, even if, because I feel like with beat block or with writer's block, a lot of the times it's I don't like what I'm doing right now. Not that I don't always have something to draw from, or I don't always have something to do. So just work through it. But my creative process is fairly simple. Let's roll up a spliff and sit down at the computer and whatever comes out, comes out. I try not to overthink it.
Yeah, that's a good way to go.
Yeah.
What about you?
You stole my answer. I think I think at the end of the day, though, you can't chase inspiration, or you should be chasing inspiration because it's not always going to come to you. I think always having to sit down and work on something is when the best things come, because I think more recently I'm trying to not do what I've done before, and I have all the equipment in my own home, so there's a lot of comfort that I could be able to experiment and do some things. And then on days when I have an idea, a lot of I was equated to basketball and shooting. And sometimes when you want to fix mechanics or do stuff like that, you have to force yourself to see what you've been doing. So it's I listen to a lot of my older music and think, okay, how can I manipulate this to be more mature? So I think in times when I am reaching a kind of block, it's I just got to keep pushing through it. Because some days I'll have the same project up for 2-3 days and I feel I'm not writing the song that I want to. And finally I'm doing something else. Maybe I go back to work, or because I work really close to my house, so I can go to work right after working on something in the morning. On my break, on my 30-minute break, I'll go home and I'll write or I'll produce something. So it's in those times, something new will catch and then the idea is born. I think you can't just sit there and just I have an idea, it's time. So you constantly have to do stuff that's ugly, that you don't like, until you get to a point where you might have started a project and it was really bad or not polished. And then by the end of it, you might be wow, this is something I would have never been able to create if I didn't just push through that. Right. So in the long term, I think getting over writer's block or beat block, just work through it. Or work through it. And if you really can't, you feel like everything you're doing in that instant is kind of pulling away from you, do something that's super monotonous. Cleaning, step outside, like just to take your brain away from that exact moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to step away from the music because a lot of the inspiration that we have as artists or creators comes from our lives. So you can't just expect to feel creative all the time when you're only living in the studio, when you're only like, bro, go on a drive, bro. Go to Six Flags, go to the Big E, go hang out with your girl, bro. Get out of the studio.
Something.
So what are you guys like big hobbies outside of music? You just said yeah.
Fuck.
You just said yeah.
No, I'm a big golfer.
Mhm.
And
being out there in the fresh air on the golf course like that.
Yeah, and I really like golfing alone because it just allows me to just focus on the now,
Mhm.
and I don't have to worry about external factors. Like it's a mindfulness practice for me, and like you said, just being outside. That's a big one.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm a blow. I'm gonna sound like a loser. I think I still have a full-time job, so it's like working at the full-time job gives me a lot of release.
Mhm.
And I always say, like, when I get to a point where music is making the means that I need it to, I'm gonna still try to keep something that keeps a schedule for me because I need a break away from music. Because it's like that. It's like I'll drive myself insane sitting at a computer, being like, why isn't this fucking sound sounding like it is in my head?
Yeah.
And then I'll leave and come back and I'm like, holy shit, I'm just overthinking everything. But other than working, I think my job is, I'm literally a janitor, so it's to clean. But I also love doing like maintaining like a yard, like yard work, or just like cleaning in general. I know it's more work, but at the same time, it's something that I enjoy. It's the instant gratification of like, you're doing something and then you get to look at it and it's like, wow.
I feel you.
Beautiful.
I love to like vacuum when it's dirty and just see like it get it cleaner and cleaner. And it's so much more of like a clear cut goal than like making a good song.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how to get a lawn mowed.
It's accomplishable. It's something that you can literally go and accomplish, and it's like, okay, I did that. You might have to do it again, but I always say in terms of stuff that you have to clean, at least you have something to clean.
It's good for the subconscious too, because in those moments of beat block or writer's block, you don't feel like you're being productive, and then you go clean something or cut the yard, and now you get that feeling of productiveness that you can maybe take back to your work. Which can just give you a new perspective or whatever you want to call it.
All right, so tell me a little bit more about your journey as a studio owner and Evan as an engineer.
My journey as a studio owner was unlike a lot of other people, I feel like. So what happened at the time, I was living in Virginia Beach. I was on a work assignment for a year, and it was during the pandemic that my former business partner, Ty, reached out to me and said that a studio out here in Connecticut offered us to like run one of their rooms because they have like 4 or 5 studios in the building. And that just kind of opened our eyes to like, if other people think we can do this, we should feel like we can do this. So he went to check it out. And again, I was not living here, so I couldn't go. And the one thing was, it was just really far away because we both lived in, similar, like the same area. So we just like looked for a space and then found one and then just built a studio. And the journey as a studio owner has been really fun, but the journey as a small business owner is really hard. And it was really hard after COVID. But I think the difference between me and, I don't want to say a lot of engineers, but some other people that I've worked with, is that I don't do this as a means to support myself. I do this because I love it, and I've just been fortunate enough to like, now this is how I can support myself and my family. But I mean, I was telling you when we got here, bro, I was here till 4:30 last night. Like, it's late nights, sometimes it's early mornings, and a lot of times it's long hours. But if you were doing the one thing you wanted to do in the world, like, a lot of times that doesn't really matter. And it's not a factor, because it's worth it.
Yeah, and especially if you compare it to like, whatever, working at a pizza shop or doing something else.
Which, hey, if that's what you want to do, and you've been wanting to make pizza since you was a little kid.
Make that pizza.
I love
but
that.
as opposed to something else, I meant like just something else. Like
it's something mundane. It's like a job is, I wake up and I'm like, I gotta go do this shit again.
Yeah.
I was just there yesterday. I never have that feeling in the studio. And so I'm just blessed to be able to do something this creative. Because as creators, we have a lot of shit going on up here, and sometimes we need to get it out. The one word I'll say is like my summary of this journey. It's just been fun. It really has been fun as hell.
So Evan, did you start as an artist or as an engineer or as a producer?
I started as everything because everything in music is expensive when you outsource it. In terms of the creation of the music itself, once you get to a position where you can create the music, you always have to outsource for videos or, always, but for the most part, if you've been working on the music, you should be searching for somebody who's been working on the videography for as long as you have the music. Mm-hmm. In terms of the engineering, I just knew from the beginning that it was the best idea to invest in myself. I was working at a pizza restaurant. I was waiting tables, so I had a decent amount of cash on hand, and I went to Guitar Center and I bought myself a Scarlett 2i2, a couple JBLs. I had like a Tower desktop and a Rode NT-1A that I still have to this day. Knock on wood. So it's still she's still serving. But I think that I knew from the beginning it was important for my creation. When we're talking about the embarrassment factors, like a lot of the learning stages of how to be an artist is very embarrassing. Mm-hmm. And especially to be in front of somebody that you don't know or in front of other people, like you have to find your own sound. So I knew that it was important to create that space for myself to be able to, and I'm a workaholic. So if I can create that space for myself, I'm just in there consistently doing it. Mm-hmm. So I'm on YouTube College. You know what I'm saying? We're watching as many YouTube videos, just like you're saying, as we can to be able to learn and learn and learn. And I learned on Logic Pro first, and then I got FL. And then I've been using FL for the last 5 years. My first year was on Logic, 5 years on FL. And I had met Chase last year, probably a year ago now. Maybe
I feel like we met a couple years ago, but we started working together.
Yeah, but like
really we like run into each other at like functions and events.
Yeah, but I've never seen, like, there was one time where we did see each other's workflow, but it was maybe for like 5 minutes. It was literally, he was on the laptop outside on concrete at like a folding table, and he was making a beat, and I just like, I think I put down like a rim, hi-hats, and maybe something else on the beat. And then that was about the
extent of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But beyond that, I went and saw him, and I had been showing some of my own music to him. And then throughout the time, I've come to him and I've made some songs with him, and then shown him my progression of my engineering from even a year ago to now. Right. He gave me the space here to engineer on Sundays, and it's all things that he was saying. It's the fucking up in front of people. It's trying to get a consistent sound for different people, because engineering for yourself is super easy when you have the time and when you have the availability to make a mistake and fix it. But to have it real time in front of you, stay consistent to their sound, and especially when he's been doing that for a good amount of time, it's really important to do that as a second engineer and keep that consistency. So at the end of the day, it's just keep working and keep listening and keep learning on how to be consistent, use my ears, not overthink things, and feel natural in the moment, because that's when the best mixes happen, honestly, I think. When you're feeling the vibe from everybody else and you understand the space that you're in and how to use the tools that you have.
I think it's different too when you learn how to engineer yourself first. A lot of times you can get just caught up in like, this works for me, and now this is my template, and this is what I do every time. And now when you're recording somebody else who has a different sound and you try this, you're like, shit, this don't work for everybody.
Yeah.
And so now you have to understand the nuances of every single little thing to keep that artist sounding the way they want to. Because I've said this a million times, like, we have say in the song on how it sounds, but it's not our song. Mm-hmm. So we might think it sounds good, but it's not what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. And that's the balance that you have to find. It's like, how do I make it technically right in my mind without losing the feeling of it?
Because the creation is coming from their mind. Like, the ideas and everything is coming from their mind. So it's like, we're an amplifier for those ideas. Absolutely. Without diminishing them. Because a lot of times I feel like engineers go into a situation where I watched an interview with Tyler Creator talking about he creates like a child and edits like a genius or a master or some way he phrased that, but it was like in the creation mode, don't care about any rules, and then when it comes time to mix and edit and okay, how can we formulate this so it makes sense to a regular listener? Because a lot of people are super creative and they want to do stuff that doesn't make sense technically, but it's like our job to not tame them, just make them sit correctly.
Yeah.
So tell us about your latest album.
So my latest album is really an acronym for Most Hated Man, and I kind of just let that be. I didn't like post about that or anything because the last song on that album is also Most Hated Man. I think most of my projects I haven't gotten to a point where I've been able to tell a story through and through. This one definitely was the closest to be able to divert some of my love R&B side and more of my true to myself storytelling side. And there's a distinct flip in the album at the 6-song Chaos with Montez. But that all of these songs have been created within the last year, and it just comes from a place of looking at inner self, looking at who I'm talking to or how I'm reacting. And a lot of the second half of it, I wanted to call it Most Hated Man just because a lot of my traits when it came to building relationships got me in positions where I was hated. And also there was a lot of reflecting days where I was my most hated because of just what I was doing, how I was reacting. A couple years ago, I had gone through a decent amount of stuff and I had been healing incorrectly. I had been drowning in a lot of unhealthy things. And I've been clean for almost 2 years now. No drinking, no smoking.
There you go.
And I think that a lot of that album came from at least the second half of where I'm really thinking and like being introspective. The first half is very extroverted, talking about love and talking about women and just what I was kind of doing at that point. But I did spend a lot of time on the back end after the creation side and I sent him the album and he gave me a couple notes on just keeping attention because a lot of what I say for a reason. I don't just say it for no reason. But to contain an audience, you also have to sonically please them so they stay. Just because you feel as if the words hold weight doesn't mean that it's going to happen for everybody else. But I think the best way to do that is paint the picture around it. So the thing that they're really supposed to be looking at stands out more. And he said something simple as like, I think you should just speed up the drums. But in my mind, I'm overthinking that statement and I'm like, okay, I need to be more dynamic. Everything needs to be more dynamic. I need to catch people in different ways without just being like, let me just speed the tempo up on all of these songs. Like, let me think about grasping and changing sonic fields and doing these things where when I get later in my career and people look back, they'll see that I'm paying attention to detail on all my songs. Because I know my audience is small at this point, but I'd rather have a small audience that is listening to me than a big audience that doesn't care. And when I get to a larger status, I want people to be able to look back and say, okay, he's always cared about the music at hand. Because that's what I do it for. That's what I love.
Yeah, you can definitely tell when you listen to your music that it's like there's like a creation process and you're not just like getting in the studio and freestyling. Like, it's very well crafted and well put together.
Well, you say that, I don't write anything. My writing process is very much freestyle melodies and freestyle lines, and sometimes
scat.
Yeah.
And kind of like fill in the blank after that.
Literally, it's more about the vowel sounds. For me, it's about the vowel sounds and the runs and maybe like little licks that I'm trying to do at each little pocket within a song.
This one died. Sorry. I have to restart that one.
Also the feeling.
Yeah, I think because the original organic feeling when you're creating something, if you can capture that, that's why I want to get so good at freestyling what I want to say. Because if I can do that the first time, that's the original feeling. That's the most natural feeling.
How does one get better at that? Is it just reps? Or is it
It's just reps.
Is it?
And it's
reading the dictionary, like on some, you know what I mean? Like,
but it's also, I think, on not just so technical. I think it's being more emotionally open, like never questioning what I'm gonna say, instead like just letting it be said.
So I saw an interview with John Mayer, one of I think the greatest songwriters of our generation. He said something to the fact that he was like, I'm at a point with my songwriting now that like sometimes I don't like the idea, but my liking of the idea shouldn't stop the idea from coming out.
Right.
And that's such a bar to me, like.
That really speaks to like the trust he has in himself, even if he doesn't, like the trust he has in his creative process, even if his taste doesn't align with it.
Yeah, but even, bro, it's an idea.
Yeah.
It might suck, but I'm not going to skip the idea, because what happens when I build on that? And now it's some shit.
Right.
And that more stuff with me on my production side is like, bro, whatever beat I start, I'm going to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, finish the song as soon as you start it, because at the end of the day, even if you never listen to it again, it's there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm the same way. I won't export a beat unless it's done, and like I always want to end up with something to listen to afterwards. I always try to.
Yeah, and a lot of times as creators, we judge our work harder than anyone else. Like we're analyzing our stuff way too deep, and I remember I was in a cook-up session with Chief and Hype and a lot of the dudes in that group, and I was making a beat, and the whole time I was looking at the computer like this, and I was looking around the room like, "Y'all fuck with this?" And I looked directly to my left, and Hype was sitting there, and nobody else in the room noticed, but I was like, "I might delete this shit. This is kind of trash." And he stood up. He was like, "What?" And that goes to show, like, bro, just because I don't like the idea doesn't mean that other people aren't. Mm-hmm. So you gotta get the idea out. And then they ended up making a song. And I shot a video to it. So like, that shows how much they love the song.
Because sometimes it's not about us.
It's not, bro.
And I think that's the ego battle that you have as a creator of music.
That's what I was gonna say.
Because you're literally fighting yourself most of the time.
For sure.
And it's like, it's not about you. The idea is not about you. The message that you have is not about you. I went through like a little phase where I was trying to read like old, like Greek philosophy, like Socrates and Plato, and there was a phrase, and it was just about the writer isn't the one who tells the message; it's the audience, because they read it and they perceive it a certain way, and that's what it is. So it's like that conversation from John Mayer to him making a beat. It's just, if you have an idea and you're perceiving it a certain way, somebody out there could be perceiving it completely different, and that's the thing. Yeah. It's like, we're not doing it for ourselves, but that's also a weird way to do it when everybody in society around us is posting themselves and doing these things for themselves, and it's like this race that you're trying not to compete with, but sometimes you fall into that trap.
So Chase, what's up next for you? You got any projects in the works or anything?
Well, I mean, I'm always working on other people's stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just finished a couple tapes, actually. We did a couple tape sessions last week where we put together all the mix and master songs and went through and start to finish and micro adjustments. So I've always got work coming out in that sense. But I have been like debating with the idea of doing a producer tape. I started a producer tape 3 years ago, and it just wasn't turning out like I wanted to, and it wasn't as easy to coordinate as I thought it might be. And a lot of my time is spent on other people's music, so I just didn't want to like really put that on the front burner. But I've actually got that up and kind of going again. So I'm hoping to have like a finished something, whether that's like a EP, mixtape, or album. But we'll see. We'll see what the cards hold. Because right now, not my hands.
And Evan, you just put out a project. You just put out the deluxe, but so there's a lot to chew on there already. But anything else in the works for the future?
Yeah, I silently dropped a little 4 EP. I think that at this point, I've got a lot of songs. I need to work on visuals and curating really a good marketing plan. I think that it's great to have songs out and it's great to have a catalog, but it's kind of doing me a disservice when I just drop music and I'm not pushing it the way that it needs to be done on social media. But I also think that in terms of weighing expenses to what I can make music for free at this point. I mean, I pay my mortgage and I do what I need to keep the roof over the creation spot. But in terms of creating a marketing plan, getting visuals out, it's really important for me in the upcoming future to hone in on making sure that there's this song and I want everybody to know about it. I did a decent job with a project that I did last year called Summer James, and one of the songs, Hold It Down, was one of the better songs off of it, and people were really catching to it. So I definitely went on a couple tours. I did in the South, I hit a couple places, and in the Midwest, I hit a couple places, and I was performing that song and maybe a couple other songs. But this year, I mean, money is always tight, but it's just about allocating it the correct way.
Sure.
You guys ready to get cooking?
Yeah.
For sure.
All right, let's do
cooking.
it.
I was about to ask, is the sound
It might be.
is the
We might just
sounds
have to
like
export it, ship it
arpeggiator
over.
linked to the tempo, or is it just like a loose thing that you have to adjust if you?
It might be like a gross beat kind of thing where you're like clicking stuff while it's playing and it's getting off.
Ooh, okay. It still feels like.
Yeah. Is there a...
Show.
Real-time control.
Damn. Oh, yo, try out Thomas Chirp 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just me whistling.
Is it actually?
Yeah.
I like that.
3, 2, 1.
MilkyWaay, that's out of this world.
Whoa, we in the kitchen.
Who made this?
Whoa.
Yeah, good luck, Chase.
Get me right. You seem to know just what I want. Don't lose sight of what we have in front of us. Kiss, touch, love, body pristine. Ratchet, fuss, clutch, break you sustain. Goddamn, goddamn, you persistent. Come here, missus. Close the distance. They will mama make you edge midnight. Fight back, make it bite. Ooh, yeah. Give me all your love. Beat me with your trust. Cause this dick ain't free. In the kitchen, come see what I've been whipping for you. Baby girl, come see me. Come see. Oh, we in the kitchen, man. Oh,